For decades, humanity tried to rescue wilderness ecosystems using machines and multi-million-dollar management campaigns. But the results were almost zero. Ecosystems continued collapsing anyway. To reverse the situation, in 1980, a group of biologists decided to conduct a risky experiment. They abandoned the machines and released 28 wood bison into an isolated Arctic valley. This species had once been considered extinct. They left the animals to survive entirely on their own through winters reaching -50 degrees Celsius without any form of human support. Every expert believed this would lead to the total extinction of the last remaining individuals. 8 months later, when the research team returned to inspect the site, they were completely stunned. Not a single individual had been lost. Instead, the entire physical appearance of the valley had changed. These 28 creatures had accomplished what even the most advanced technology failed to achieve. They restructured the land itself, redirected water movement, and revived plant species that had disappeared long ago. How could these one-ton animals restore an entire dying landscape in only a single winter? By 1889, all of North America contained only exactly 541 bison. Commercial hunting had wiped out tens of millions within only a single century. But the true disaster arrived in 1920. The Canadian government made a catastrophic decision. They relocated 6,000 plains bison into the habitat of the wood bison. That action introduced bovine tuberculosis and destroyed the species' pure genetic line. By 1940, the wood bison was officially declared extinct on the biological map. Scientists at the time abandoned further research projects, believing hybridization and disease had permanently erased the species forever. Everything changed in 1957. A pilot flying over the Nyarling wetlands spotted enormous dark shapes below. They were the last 200 surviving wood bison. The animals had isolated themselves inside an extreme and remote environment, surviving beyond the reach of humans and disease. The 28 bison transported in 1980 were the most precious descendants of that hidden population. Before the airlift operation began, the animals were raised inside a specialized quarantine zone at Elk Island National Park. The facility was considered the safest living gene bank on Earth. Staff members followed sterilization procedures as strict as those used in high-security laboratories to ensure that no modern pathogen could enter the herd. They understood that if these 28 individuals became infected, 60 million years of bison evolutionary history would officially come to an end. Pause for a few seconds. What do you think about the fact that humanity nearly drove an entire species to extinction because of one disastrous decision in the past? Do you believe only 28 individuals could restore an entire continent? Leave your opinion below, because what happened next would prove that nature is far more powerful than we ever imagined. Transporting 28 gigantic animals into one of the harshest environments in North America became an extreme logistical challenge. Each bison had to be sedated using specialized equipment with absolutely precise dosage calculations. Scientists used carfentanil, an anesthetic 10,000 times more powerful than morphine. Even a tiny drop absorbed through human skin could become fatal within minutes. The scientists worked under extreme tension, constantly monitoring oxygen levels in animals weighing 1 ton while simultaneously battling freezing winds. A single mistake could allow a waking bison to endanger the helicopter instantly with its raw strength. The herd was released into the Liard River Basin, a region filled with green vegetation during summer but transformed into a frozen wasteland during winter. The scientists departed, leaving behind 8 months of total silence. During that time, the herd faced 2 enormous threats: food shortages caused by plants buried beneath thick snow and Arctic wolf packs that had never encountered prey this massive before. Statistics showed that temperatures in the region could drop below -55 degrees Celsius for 40 consecutive days. With snow depths exceeding 1.5 meters, even a moose could collapse from exhaustion simply trying to move. Local gray wolves had begun assembling into massive superpacks containing as many as 30 individuals, preparing for large-scale hunts. Everyone believed the bison would become an enormous food supply for the wolves, but reality proved the exact opposite. When observation helicopters returned to the valley in early 1981, biologists witnessed a survival capability unlike anything they had ever seen before. All 28 individuals had not only survived, but were actually in better physical condition than when they were first released. This directly challenged the brutal biological laws of the Arctic environment. Instead of losing weight because of food shortages, these massive creatures had discovered how to maintain and even increase their energy reserves in temperatures reaching -50 degrees Celsius. Thermal cameras and biological sample analysis revealed an extraordinary secret: wood bison possess a miraculous metabolic system. While most species burn enormous amounts of energy simply trying to stay warm, bison lower their heart rates and enter a state of extreme energy conservation while remaining fully active. Their fur is so dense that snow resting on their backs never melts. Because almost no body heat escapes into the air, they are among the most perfectly insulated creatures on Earth. To break through snow layers frozen as hard as stone, wood bison rely on specialized anatomy, an enormous skull combined with incredibly powerful neck muscles. These structures function like biological excavation machines, sweeping away 50 kilograms of snow with a single motion of the head in order to reach the sedge grasses beneath a nutrient-rich food source, inaccessible to most other hoofed animals. This unique ability allows them to transform an extreme environment into a private reserve of survival resources. But the truly astonishing event was the appearance of calves. The herd successfully reproduced in temperatures reaching -50 degrees Celsius. The birth of 7 new calves during the very first winter became an extraordinary biological phenomenon. It proved that this environment was not simply a place they endured, it was the environment they belonged in. Their instincts were so powerful that they required absolutely no human intervention to rebuild their population naturally. How could wood bison transform an entire landscape in ways no modern technology could achieve? The answer lies in their dual ecological impact mechanism. The first major factor is their dust-wallowing behavior. By using their massive 1-ton bodies to roll across dry ground, bison create deep depressions that later become small rainwater reservoirs. These miniature ecological zones are critical for restoring biodiversity, providing breeding sites for amphibians and resting stations for migratory birds. At the same time, disturbing the surface soil allows ancient buried seeds to germinate once again after decades of dormancy. Next, bison function as vegetation regulators through selective grazing. They consume tall, invasive grasses, allowing sunlight to finally reach the ground and enabling rare wildflowers and native herbs to flourish again. This transformation not only increased pollinating insect populations by 3 times, but also created a layered habitat system: short grasslands for nesting birds and dense vegetation zones for small mammals seeking shelter. The third mechanism involves nutrient flow. A single bison herd can travel dozens of miles every day, distributing enormous amounts of organic material across the landscape. This is not merely fertilizer for the soil, it is an entire miniature ecosystem supporting billions of insects. Those insects then become the foundation of life for bird populations throughout the region. But the greatest transformation was still yet to come, because predators had begun noticing the herd's presence. The return of the bison created an evolutionary pressure that reshaped the region's apex predators. Local gray wolf packs, which had already altered their hunting behavior toward large prey, were forced to completely redesign their strategies and pack structures in order to adapt. A biological arms race had begun. Wolves became smarter and more sophisticated, creating a new natural balance that filtered out weaker bison individuals while maintaining the overall strength of the herd. Grizzly bears also became part of the transformation. They evolved into highly efficient scavengers, exploiting the remains left behind after wolf hunts. During spring, the fur shed by the bison became some of the warmest nesting material available for northern bird species, dramatically increasing chick survival rates. Statistics showed that in areas where bison returned, migratory bird density increased by 5 times. Even after a bison completed its life cycle, it continued serving the ecosystem as a concentrated source of nutrients. Their carcasses supported more than 50 different species, from microorganisms deep within the soil to powerful birds of prey in the sky, forming a living cycle that never truly ends. From the original 28 individuals, the wood bison population in the Aishihik region has now grown to more than 2,000 animals. They have expanded across 3 Canadian provinces and territories. The presence of the bison is not merely the recovery of a species, it is the restoration of ecological momentum itself, transforming an impoverished ecosystem into one of the most sustainable biological networks in North America. The success in Canada inspired an even greater ambition known as the Pleistocene Park Project. In 2006, 30 wood bison from Elk Island National Park were transported halfway across the Earth to Siberia in Russia. It became one of the boldest scientific experiments in history using animals to stabilize the Earth's climate. There, scientists are attempting to recreate the mammoth steppe, an ecosystem that vanished 10,000 years ago. Wood bison are considered one of the key species for slowing climate change. During winter, thick snow acts as an insulating blanket, increasing the risk of permafrost thawing. When bison compact the snow while searching for food, they destroy its insulating ability, allowing extreme cold to penetrate much deeper into the ground. Field measurements in Siberia confirmed a remarkable effect in areas trampled by bison. Ground temperatures could become as much as 15 degrees Celsius colder than surrounding regions. This acts like a gigantic thermal shield, preventing the release of billions of tons of methane, a greenhouse gas far more powerful than carbon dioxide that has remained trapped beneath the permafrost for thousands of years. The latest analytical reports suggest that expanding large bison populations across vulnerable landscapes could potentially neutralize nearly 1/3 of global soil carbon emissions. These animals are effectively climate engineers working non-stop, delivering results that no current artificial carbon capture technology can match in terms of cost efficiency or long-term sustainability. However, serious challenges still remain, including declining genetic diversity, the risk of disease transmission from domestic livestock, and climate change progressing faster than the bison's own ability to adapt. These variables require careful management through modern science. Once nearly exterminated through recreational hunting, the wood bison has now become one of humanity's most important tools for protecting the global climate. These animals prove that when the right species is returned to the right environment, nature does not require human intervention to heal itself. It simply needs humanity to step aside and allow natural engineers to do their work. Today, the story of the wood bison is no longer about survival, it is about restoring order. The latest monitoring data shows that in areas crossed by bison herds, soil fertility has increased by 20%, while ecosystem water retention capacity has improved dramatically. Farmers and indigenous communities surrounding protected regions have begun noticing groundwater recovery and stronger vegetation growth than ever before. When compared alongside major rewilding projects such as wolf restoration in Yellowstone or vegetation recovery on the Loess Plateau, the case of Canada's wood bison stands as powerful evidence of one truth. Nature does not need layers of complicated management, it needs keystone species capable of restarting the machinery itself. This also raises a difficult and multidimensional question about human livelihoods. Is land restoration a humanitarian goal for the future? Or does it involve sacrificing living space for existing indigenous communities? Organizations such as the International Union for Conservation of Nature and governments around the world continue debating this issue in search of the most balanced solution possible. Biologist Tom Jung, who has monitored the herd for decades, once said that these animals possess something extraordinary. They do not care about humans, and they do not fear them. They simply return to reclaim what once belonged to them. Their strength does not come from muscle alone, but from endurance and patience through thousands of winters. The return of the wood bison is a powerful lesson about restoring missing pieces to nature instead of trying to control ecosystems through machines. Beginning with only 28 individuals, humanity permanently changed the landscape of the subarctic region and opened a new chapter in intelligent, sustainable, planetary conservation. From the edge of extinction, the wood bison proved that biological resilience can overcome even the harshest adversity. North America once again hears the thunder of bison herds beneath the dawn sky, and the world has gained another lesson in extraordinary ecological recovery. The journey of those 28 bison in 1980 became a symbol of hope for a new era. It reminds humanity that if life is given even the smallest opportunity, it will always find a way forward. If you believe the power of nature is truly extraordinary, press like and share this story to spread the message of ecological rebirth. Leave your thoughts below. We will see you again in the next exploration.